And welcome to another Paper 3 video. This time we'll be focusing on migration as a flow and a transfer of money, ideas and people around the world. So we can see obviously lots of very clear links here with Unit 1, which deals with migration, the demographic transition model, demographic dividend, but also challenges and opportunities. As always, all the way through this short video, we'll be trying to make links with other units of work and links with suggested sustainable development goals. First of all, I'd like to tackle the issue of migration. At the moment, it is a very hot topic of controversy. While indeed there are economic migrants, and there are an increasing number of economic migrants, some people would suggest that politicians have used this myth of economic migrants. In fact, a lot of migrants are not actually economic migrants at all. They are actually refugees fleeing from very desperate and difficult situations. This is not to say, of course, there's not a significant economic element to the troubles that they are having. But it's very dangerous if we oversimplify things. Some economic migrants, of course, are very affluent, highly educated professionals who seek new opportunities in the labour market. And they follow changes in the world economy. For example, so you'd have the highly educated and affluent workers seeking opportunities, for example, in the IT sector or the banking sector, as and where they arise around the globe. Of course, for others, migration is the means to escape poverty, gain better opportunities for their children, and to get better job security. This may be lacking in their home countries. This category of migrants often find employment predominantly in low-status, insecure, low-paid jobs, for example, in the agricultural sector or the service sector. Underneath this issue of economic migration, particularly for less educated people, of course we can see a very tight link here with SDG 1, no poverty, and also SDG 10, which reduce inequalities. But in this video we'll also be considering the role of global development and the role of having stable institutions to help a country to develop. So contrary to popular belief, a lot of politicians like to suggest that economic migrants as a flow are mainly bad. They also suggest that people take this choice to migrate from their homeland to another land very lightly. This is clearly not the case and is not borne out by any sort of statistics or research. It's a very tough and life-changing decision that you choose to become an economic migrant. There are, of course, always pros and cons. Do remember, though, that these pros and cons are both for the receiving communities and for the communities that people have come from. It must not be underestimated the huge economic boost that cheap labour can give to economies. Much of the agricultural industry and a lot of the service sector in industry in the United States of America and indeed the United Kingdom relies on comparatively low-paid migrant workers. So you can see, as a result of this balance between pros and cons, politicians do try to use this to their advantage, and a lot of systems and institutions and laws have been introduced that try to regulate the movement of economic migrants. This has in recent years, particularly in the United States of America, but in other countries as well, led to quite considerable economic problems. As we said before, the issue of migration cannot be considered in isolation and needs to be considered in the wide context of why exactly do people want to become economic migrants. So here I would have a look at SDG 8, which is decent work and economic growth. For the most part, if there were decent work and decent economic growth in regions where people are migrating from, they probably wouldn't choose to migrate, or at least not in the same numbers at all. Also, as we said, the economic migrant card can be overplayed at times by politicians. While there often is an economic aspect to many migration movements, it is also closely related to peace, justice, and strong institutions. People are more likely to need to leave or want to leave countries which do not have peace, do not have justice, or strong institutions. I would suggest this is something that we need to reflect on when we're thinking about the way that we handle global development. Again, coming back to this idea of economic migrants, peace, justice, and strong institutions, Donald Trump certainly has been making the institution of border control a lot stronger, and this has caused conflict at times. We might also like to consider SDG 17, which is Partnership for the Goals. It could be suggested that if the United States of America had better partnerships with Mexico and Central American countries that help them to develop in a fair way, we wouldn't be in this situation of large numbers of migrants wanting to cross the border, or so that is what our politicians say to us. This is also again related to SDG 3, which is good health and well-being and good quality education. It does have huge impacts on both the receiving communities and on the communities that are losing their people to migration. So in this picture there is the absolutely deplorable situation of children at the Mexico-US border being separated from their parents and effectively being detained in cages and giving aluminium blankets. This is certainly not the sort of world that I'm happy growing up in, and I hope is something that no reasonable person would accept. Again, there is human trafficking. Unfortunately, when you have stronger institutions and you have a justice system that wants to control migration, it does lead the door open there for human trafficking. So we've actually found an increase in human trafficking since the Trump administration has introduced stronger migration regulations. I have said several times about the Trump administration, it does have to be remembered that some of the regulations were introduced under the Obama administration. So it's very important that you have a clear and round picture of this. Hey guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's a little longer than I wanted to make it. If you haven't done so already, please do subscribe to my YouTube channel. Every little thumbs up can help, and a comment below will be really nice. See you in the next video.